Hello little ones, welcome back to Grandma's channel. Tonight we are going to read together Walt Disney's Winnie the Pooh, a very good neighbor. And tonight's story is dedicated to Jonathan. Winnie the Pooh had just woken up and was doing his stoutness exercises when Owl arrived. "Good morning, Pooh," said Owl. "Isn't it a glorious day in the neighborhood?" "Is it?" asked Pooh. "Which neighborhood is that, Owl?" "Our neighborhood, Pooh, where we are neighborly neighbors." "Oh!" answered Pooh, puffing a little as he finished his stretches, still not quite sure what they were talking about. "I suppose it is." "Indeed," Owl replied. "I am taking an aerial survey." Owl flapped his wings and began to circle Pooh's house. "What are you taking?" called Pooh, wondering if it was anything like Rue's strengthening medicine. "A survey, that is, a look around at your neighborhood from up in the air." "Oh," said Pooh, "is that what you're doing? What can you see?" "I see the 100-acre wood, naturally, and your closest neighbor Piglet raking leaves." "Right," thought Pooh to himself. "A visit with Piglet, that's what I had planned for today." As Owl flew away, Pooh decided that he would bring Piglet a present, by way of being neighborly, so he fetched a honey pot and tucked it under his arm before he set off. Halfway down the path to Piglet's house, Pooh began to think about Owl's aerial survey, and he said to himself, "Perhaps I should make a groundular survey too, and find this neighborhood thing of Owl's." So instead of taking the short straight path to Piglet's, Pooh took the long way around. Before long, Pooh arrived at Kanga and Rue's house. "Hello, Pooh," said Kanga. "Have you come to play with Rue?" "Actually," said Pooh, "I'm going to visit Piglet, but I'm trying to find our neighborhood along the way." "Oh," said Kanga, "that sounds like hungry work. Would you like to join us for a snack first?" "Well," Pooh said, rubbing his belly, "I'm feeling a little 11 o'clock-ish." So Kanga, Roo, and Pooh walked up past the sandy pit where Roo liked to play to the picnic spot. After rather a lot of honey and several sandwiches, Pooh said thank you to Kanga and Roo and set off towards Rabbit's house. Rabbit was working in his garden. "Where are you going, Pooh?" he asked. "I'm bringing Piglet a present and finding out our neighborhood along the way." "Have you seen any neighbors, Rabbit?" "Friends and relations, you mean? I'm sure they're around here somewhere. Hard to keep track of them all," said Rabbit. "Since you're passing by, would you bring those carrots to Christopher Robin? They're for his lunch." "Certainly," replied Pooh. With the carrots under one arm and the honey pot under the other, Pooh made his way to Christopher Robin's house. By the time he arrived, it was getting hot and sunny, and Pooh was feeling rather tired. "Thanks very much for the carrots, Pooh," said Christopher Robin. "You're just in time for lunch." "Well, I am on my way to see Piglet," said Pooh. but I suppose a little something wouldn't hurt." So Pooh had quite a bit more honey and a rather long nap before saying goodbye to Christopher Robin and setting out once more to see Piglet and find the neighborhood. Pooh strolled through a little pine wood and climbed the gate. On the other side was Eeyore's house. "Hello, Pooh," said Eeyore. "Lost, are you?" "No," said Pooh. "I'm just on my way to visit Piglet and find our neighborhood." "Just as I thought," said Eeyore glumly. "Lost." "But Eeyore, you're one of my neighbors," said Pooh. So Pooh scratched his head, thinking hard. "This must be the neighborhood. I'm not lost at all." "If you say so, Pooh." Eeyore looked so gloomy that Pooh wanted to cheer him up, so he offered him some honey. Eeyore looked into the pot and sadly shook his head. "Empty. Your honey seems to be lost, Pooh, even if you're not." Still shaking his head, Eeyore ambled away. "Oh, bother," said Pooh, as he resumed his walk, worrying about how to explain to Piglet about the neighborly gift he wasn't going to get. A sudden hoot made Pooh look up. Owl was flying by. "I've been looking for our neighborhood, Owl, but now I have no honey left to bring a neighborly present to Piglet." "Oh dear, have you forgotten your neighbors at the old bee tree?" "What a clever idea," said Pooh. "That's why you must listen to your older and wiser neighbors, Pooh. Follow me." Owl swooped off through the woods and Pooh followed him to the old bee tree. A loud buzzing sound was coming from very near the top. Pooh began to climb the very tall tree. The buzzing got louder. "Good job, Pooh Bear," said Owl as Pooh drew near the top. "Now then, tell me, what do you see?" Pooh looked down at the 100-acre wood far below. "Oh, I can see Piglet's house, Eeyore's gloomy place, Roo's sandy pit." "Precisely, Pooh. It's our neighborhood all around us." "It looks far away," said Pooh, "but now I can see that it's been right here all along." And we see Pooh's house and Piglet, and Kanga and Roo's house, Rabbit's, Owl's house, Christopher Robin, and Eeyore's gloomy place. Pooh filled his honey pot right up to the brim. Then, like good neighbors, he and Owl went over to Piglet's house for supper. The end. Good night and sweet dreams. Good night, Jonathan.